Welcome back to the Finnish countryside. It has been one rough patch, and I sadly have quite a bit of bleak news to tell you of why the progress has been close to nothing. But it's not all bad news. We have now installed our first window I restored. But before that, let's take a look of another task we had to tackle before we could install the window. As some of you might have seen in the last video, a rainstorm got our walls soaked, so we are now in a hurry to get them covered up for the winter. On the backyard side of the house, the wall is a bit more higher than in the front because of a downhill, so I decided that we should probably build a scaffolding just to be safe and just because I'm so afraid of heights. On the inside, we have had our neighbor's fan running for hours and hours after the rainstorm got our walls wet. And this fan works 1,000 times better than the tiny ones we had before, so I can finally say that our walls are dry, at least for now. On the outside, we're boarding up these walls now. We were gonna use these wood fiber boards on the outside walls anyway, but we just didn't have any intention to do it just yet. But then the autumn happened and the rainstorm happened, and here we are.
Surullista, että mä en enää tää ei tunnu mitenkään utopistiselta ajatukselta. Näyttää ihan niinku tässä olisi tämmönen nahkaverhoilu. Vittu kun pelottaa.
Sitä alaa laittaa kiinni siihen. Oliko?
Enää irrota.
En irrottanut. Ajan pitkiin.
Lautoja laittiin ja vituttiin. Ei vituttanut. Heti kun tulee tällä vähän nopeampaa valaamista, niin vitutus vähenee.
Because we have an extension part planned on the end of the house, just where the wall got most wet, we cannot put these boards up there yet. So we moved to work on the other side of the house. This autumn and November has been like all the ones before. We get snow, I get happy, the snow melts, I get sad. But nature will take its time to turn its pages, and really there's nothing we can do. So I try not to spend too much time on getting frustrated on the things that I cannot change. The winter will come and stay eventually.
We got our first snow yesterday, so it's not cold, but it's snowy. No horseflies, no mosquitoes, no spiders, no those teeny tiny flies that get everywhere and bite you. So I'll take this weather any day. These boards are actually really fun to install, and of course it has something to do with the fact that something gets ready so quickly when it's a white surface. These boards are hunton, and it has a, I forgot if it's it's bitumi in Finnish, but something like bituminum. On the surface, so that works as like a protection against rain. Of course, we cannot leave it like this. It's not for forever, but also this works as a windproofing. What I have on my menu today: blue cheese, smoked salmon, to winter. So we had a bit of a problem here. There's such a big bump here that our siding will actually bump into it. So we decided that we're gonna board this up here and then leave room for the final koolaus puu here. And then we need to make that last log flat sometime next year. I'm trying to get the boards up here today, if there's enough daylight. It's getting dark. It's so hard to film from there because the scaffolding is on the way, whichever way I try, so I'm just gonna stop for today.
The next day the snow was already gone. But we had other things in mind today because we got to finally install the window. It got delayed for quite a bit because we realized that we need to know how thick the wall structure will be before we can tell what is the right depth for this window to be installed in. So what's up with this birch bark, you may ask? Last year we were picking up some old windows from an old house, and while we were taking apart the windows, I realized that on one of the window openings there was birch bark on top of the log. That window opening was intact, while the other ones were rotten away. So I thought that we'll give that a go here too. Instead of screwing through the frame and attaching the window that way, I wanted to try this traditional way that they have used in this house before and attach these windows with these metal plates. I don't know if it will work, but I'm hoping it will. And if it doesn't, we just have to fix it. But for now, I think it's a solid system. And it was also really easy.
Aika helvetin hyvä. Yes.
No niin, ja nyt suksit kuuseen sieltä. Tarvit tommosia positiivisuuspommeja. Mitä tää on nyt mun talo, hei? Mä oon täällä sisäpuolella, sä oot siellä.
Päästä sisään.
No en päästä.
Mä epäilen, että tästäkin seuraa jotain pahaa. Laitetaan ikkunaan, niin joku katto syttyy palamaan.
I wasn't actually far off with that statement, but if you don't want to hear about all the things that have gone wrong lately, now is maybe a good time to stop watching, because next I will tell you about all of that, and it's gonna get a bit negative.
Mä haluan käydä ostamassa sen takappuja. It's been a rough month here. Pretty much everything we have been doing whole month of November has backfired in some way or another. We started to board the walls after the one rainy day made the whole clay plaster wet, which I showed you in the last video. On this side, so on the front of the house, everything was fine, but on that side we had to put the scaffolding up. We left the scaffolding there because we can use it when we start to put the siding on. The rain came and all the rainwater was falling on top of the scaffolding and splashing on the wood fiber boards which we just put up, and they were soaked. So we put a tarp on the side of the scaffolding so that there's about 30 centimeters of air space between the wall and the tarp, but it's gonna prevent the rainwater from dripping or splashing on the wall. And while we were working on the wood fiber boards here, I noticed that the corners of the log frame, there was white mold growing in there. And it hadn't been easy to see on daylight. I still struggle to find the white mold there in the daylight, but with like a headlamp, it's clearly visible. There's not a lot of it, like only a bit, but of course it has the tendency to grow and spread. So at this point I panicked a bit, and I decided that we should put the paper. I'm gonna check what the paper is called in English. Bitumen paper, or it's called tar paper in Finnish also, so I'm guessing tar paper, it's easier to say, so I'm gonna use that. So we decided to put the tar paper around the corners of the log frame. Then I became hesitant if it's okay to do that because it's still wet, and people, or a trusted source, let's say it this way, said that maybe it's better to wait until spring because that's the driest time of the year. Then we took the tar paper off and now the corners are bare, and I was a bit worried of the mold, but not as worried as I realized that there's mold actually on the lower part of the log frame, and I thought that let's put a tarp there, like we put it like this, so the tarp was like very loose, there was airflow, good enough to not get it more moldy. So we put that up, and then I came here to check on it to see if it has somehow like guided more rainwater between the tarp and the log wall, or anything could happen here. So then I realized that there was mold on the new logs. So then I got pissed and I ripped the whole tarp off and left everything here scattered around the yard and just went home. Yeah, I just spiraled. And now it's funny to think just how negatively I reacted on this and how strongly, but there had been so much trouble that when you're kind of on the last straw, even the tiniest thing can just like push you off the cliff. It's the same as the meme I saw a while back, when you're on your last straw and you walk past a door and the door handle gets stuck here and you're like... Then I just took a weekend to dwell on the on the sadness and frustration and being afraid what's gonna happen to this house and what's gonna happen to us, because let's be honest, anything could happen, like all this could still go wrong and we'll be left with nothing but debt. So after that I tried to reason everything, so I tried to think, okay, so what we can do, what's the worst case, what's the best case, and what should I do now to figure out what we should do next. And I decided that I'm gonna to take a sample of the mold, which looked a lot like lattiasieni. It spreads very aggressively, so that was of course my main worry, and it looked similar because the mold had like a brown spot in the center and then white on the surrounding areas. I took a sample of the mold and sent it to the lab and waited for the weekend, like the next week's weekend, and then a few days, very, very, very stressed. Then the results came and it tested negative for all the 4 molds that they tested there. It's like for these rottening type of molds that are the most common. Of course, it's some kind of mold, but it's not the 4 most like aggressive and dangerous ones. And yeah, the rush of relief that went through me was undescribable, but still there was this doubt that has been eating me alive, that what if. And then just when we had installed this window, there was grey plastic here on the outside to cover this window, because I'm basically afraid of everything going wrong. So I thought that we were gonna put the like plastic there so that nothing bad will happen after installing a window. So but that was a mistake too, because I didn't realize that it was too dark in this room because of the grey plastic. So the paint on this window started to turn yellow. So then we had to take the plastic off and get clear plastic here and put it on there, and yeah. And also there's these like, this is like baking paper, or what is it called? Because when we had this window at home, I thought that the paint was dry. It wasn't. I stored the window for a while so that the window is here in the frame. And when we started to remove the window to bring it here and install it, I opened the window and it actually ripped a part of this frame with the sash. So I wanted to put this paper here so that we can get this open next year. And then we had a snowstorm, and everything in this room is sealed, but there's a gap between the roof and the last log on the attic space, and there should be a gap there so that the airflow keeps the attic space healthy, and it has snowed inside. So one day we came here and we had to start brushing and clearing the snow from the inside of the house. This just keeps getting on, and a few days ago I told my husband that you go there and check if everything is okay after another rainstorm, because I'm just too done with all these problems and I can't take them anymore. And he came here. There was apparently water leak somewhere, so there was moist paper here on the floor, but nothing massive this time. So yeah, that's what we have been doing for the last month. So a lot of negative things here, but I'm hoping that it's all behind us now, for a while at least, and we're gonna try to move ahead, move forward, and yeah. I came here to fill these gaps here. I'm gonna use this linen strip here that we have used between the logs and between the flooring also. Hopefully nothing bad will happen when I when I make this airtight.
Give me tears.